Hi, good evening. It's TarotLumination. Sorry about this delay. Things got a little awkward. So I'm just going to do just one little freebie for fun mini reading for all of us, in case anybody feels the need. We're at a bit of a crisis point astrologically. I was pointing that out a lot recently on the Rumble version of TarotLumination, and I want to thank all the people who are starting to hang out with me over there. I really appreciate it. And last night I said hope to be here Sunday night to do some live mini readings for folks. It's very late now, so I expect most of them have already gone to bed, but I'm just going to do like a little mini courtesy reading, okay? Really simple, all right? The astrology, you know what I could do? No, I'm just not even going to talk about it. Let's just dive right in. Okie dokie, let's go over here. It's just going to be really, really simple. I'm thinking really, what is it that we need to know? What messages do we have coming to us from the great beyond that would help us? We have Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde as of today, and we just had the culmination of the full moon eclipse with the Sun in Pisces conjoined Saturn in Pisces, very close to Neptune in Pisces opposing Virgo. So it was really about massive global exposure about how real all this evil stuff is and what are we going to do to clean it up. That's my interpretation in essence. At the same time, with the Virgo axis, excuse me, let's just do this very briefly. It's just a vague illustration here. I'm not going to make a chart or anything. This is where we are astrologically right now. We've just crossed this line and we're over here on the 16th. Mercury just flipped retrograde. Venus is already retrograde. We just had the culmination of the full moon over here. Sun and moon opposing each other. We have the degree of desperation here for Neptune. Neptune is going to be traversing into Aries at the end of the month. We're already at the crisis point right now, and that extends all the way to the end of the month when we reach another crisis point, which will be the new moon eclipse. That will be the Sun and Moon in Aries, plus we're going to have Mercury in Aries at the 0 degree point retrograding back into Pisces, and then Venus just coming out of Aries and going back into Pisces, so it's going to be very weird. And then Neptune coming out of Pisces going into Aries. So everything is pivoting around the I'll show you. This is from a few days ago. This is from the 14th, okay? And I just made this one weeks and weeks ago. And I've already filed the other chart from last night's show, but just let me illustrate something here. Tonight the moon is over here in Libra. It's just about to cross into Scorpio, okay? Okay, so right now this aspect is redundant. And we have let me just use these things here very briefly. We kind of have a very awkward thing going on here with the Aries energy, and it's going like this, okay? So that's what's happening right now, and it's starting to get awkward enough that we're going to see this aspect activated as well. Pretty challenging astrologically. It's about relationships between you and others and you. Maybe it's one-on-one, maybe it's a couple, a happy couple, maybe it's a challenged couple, maybe it's you and an animal, you and a pet, or a pet and you. Maybe it's a parent and a sibling, maybe it's a siblings and siblings, maybe it's co-workers, whatever it is. relationship dynamics are very, very, let's say, precarious right now. And you can see that across the world astrologically with what's going on in the big wars and everything, okay? But we're not going to talk about that stuff tonight. I just wanted to basically illustrate that if you're feeling a little bit discombobulated, this is pretty serious, heavy-duty astrology right here. One of the things I'm noticing is that there's a lot of chatter on the internet. You know, all the alternatives like X and Signal and Telegram and TikTok and my favorite news sources that are basically fact-based and truth-based, information-based, and so we can form our own opinions. And there's a lot of stuff we'll talk about next week when we go back to the show on Rumble. But the things that have been kind of really gnawing at me personally in the background is all that stuff with the horrible, horrible things happening in the weather, in the sky, and it's not an accident. There's some very, very creepy stuff going on there. But anyway, let's try and stay neutral here. What do we need to know with these eclipses? What do we need to know with these crises points? What kind of messages are coming through right now? It's very, very garbled. Personally, I feel kind of okay. I feel I'm doing a really good job of dealing with these particular energy fields. And I can feel them. Definitely I can feel them, but I'm not letting them, let's say, own me, put it that way. I'm just basically going with the flow as best as I can. It could be very easy to blow fuses right now because the Aries energy is so strong and it's conflicted by Mars in Cancer and Moon in Libra. So, you know, if you're having issues with relationship dynamics, it's understandable. In whatever context. It doesn't have to be vicious or nasty or hostile. It just means challenging. Okay? What do you do with that? So anyway, what kind of messages are coming through for us all here tonight? I'm just imagining that some of our regulars are here. There's no one here that I can tell right now. Or if they are, I can't really tell because there's no one in the chat. But anyway, I'm just going to do this for fun and as a courtesy because I promised I would. All right, so what I do is I ask my invisible friends to come in and huddle up pretty close, like we're around a campfire, and we just want to share an intimate moment, like in a community setting. I'm not loaded up with incense or candles or crystals or anything like that. This is just TarotLumination doing tarot, okay? So cards are well shuffled. I've just been doing it randomly in the background. They were already shuffled from the end of the last show anyway, but we're going to go for it now. I'm using in case you're new to this, I'm using my situational spread. I have my own custom spreads. I only do 3 spreads. I have my situational spread. I have my crucible spread, which is for love and relationships and partnerships. And then I have my heart journey spread. I do those 2 big ones in personal readings. I don't do them really live here. I just do the little diagnostics one. Think of this as a diagnostic tool, like when you've got a trouble with your car and the little check engine light is flashing, ding, 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 service your engine soon. And then you think, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I better go to blah, blah, auto place and beg for them to, come out and test it, please, with their black box gadget. So that's what they do. And they come back and they tell you, plug it into the computer, and they tell you, oh, your catalytic converter is screwed. Oh, your ECM system is screwed. Oh, your mass air sensor is screwed. You got to fix that, or whatever it is. Okay? Oh, it's your battery, it's your starter, it's your charger, whatever. All right. So you've got to reveal it to heal it. If you don't know what the problem is, you can't fix it. So that's what we do here. Okay? It's a situation. So what's the situation? Let's have a look here. This is generic, broad spectrum, okay? here's the situation, here's the challenges, and here's how we're going to handle things. Okay? I'm going to look at this as external energy. I just think it is neutral energy of the planets, not for good, not for bad. It just is what it is. It's how we interpret that energy, how we handle it. Okay. So I have the whole deck upside down, obviously. So it is the Tower card here. Don't be scared. Okay. So I'm going to now flip these because I don't do reversals, even though the whole thing has been reversed. Okay. Let's just flip it, and flip it. There we are. And let's blame all of that on Mercury retrograde. Thank you very, very much. So with the Tower, on a global scale, and remember, I'm doing this as a kind of a global reading. That's for everybody, literally everybody. I'm just sharing what I sense over here, because on my Rumble channel, as you know, I do a lot of global observations, and I condense it down into a little show in the evening, and that's really all I do. And I mix it up with astrology and come back with some opinions, and I just share them, for better or worse. So with the Tower, this is, to me, a very powerful indication that we're going through these massive crises points right now on a global scale. And I'm not going to get into, let's say, controversial subjects. Let's just say, on a global scale, there's massive upheaval going on. It's not just here in America. You already know about what's happening in America. It's happening all over the world. America just put out visa blockages and travel blockages to 40 countries. 43 countries yesterday. That's just one example. Europe is going through convulsions, sort of like a meltdown right now. There's the big war over here. There's the big war over here. It's all up in the air. It's very, very fragile. They're talking about ceasefires, and at the same time, they're still shooting. People, a lot of countries are coming unraveled when they realize what's happening in the United States, and it has a ripple effect, whether other countries like it or want it or know it or not. It's happening anyway. And what I feel is happening is that there's a complete demolition, literally, look at the imagery here. Okay? This is a terrifying card for a lot of people. When they do like multicolored tarot readings and they see the Tower, they kind of go into a shocked silence, like, oh my God, everything's falling apart, I'm losing. Well, this is, to me, it's a beautiful thing, because I see it as the inevitable collapse, the demolition, the implosion of anything and everything that's fake across the world, whether it's a country, a person, a media system, a media source, politicians, a government, a bank, whatever it is. All that stuff has been outed very recently in the astrology. Okay. Over here, a lot of the horrible things happening on Earth have been fully revealed, and now they're being held accountable. And that's a terrifying thing for all the participants in the unsavory activities, because their livelihood is coming apart. There are people in America, being very, very high up in politics, whose whole existence is based on theft and corruption. But you'd never know, because they present themselves as your saviors, okay? And it's a common story now, like the big pharmaceuticals. The fireman who's there to save you is actually the arsonist, okay? So you've got to be careful about these things. And it's coming unglued. It's all coming unglued. The fireman who is the arsonist has been outed. And that's a big, big problem. It's a big, big, enormous, enormous problem because there's millions of people across the world who are deeply married and wedded to basically lifestyles that are fraudulent. Okay? And for those people, it's coming apart. Look what's happening in America. There's massive riots and protests by all the people in America, over here in America, who were, let's say, wedded to the nefarious I gotta be careful with my language. There's nefarious bad things going on with our leaders over here on the East Coast. Hello, Victor. Hi. I'm hanging out because I said I would, but it's, I'm 3 hours late. Anyway, this seeing the tower here does not shock me at all. I would definitely say this is applying to China right now, Russia right now, Iran right now, as just very big, obvious examples. Any institution, government, country that operates with basically evil protocols is being outed. And it's a problem for them. And they have to keep going because that's who they are and how they are. So they're trying to figure out how to keep going while their model is collapsing. Let's have a look at the situation itself. Hey, Victor, I'm probably not going to talk too much about all that controversial stuff that I do. I would invite you to come and hang out with me over on my Rumble during the week. So, with the High Priestess here, the way I see it, the situation is that we are only able to see what we are being permitted to see at the very, very highest levels of divine intervention, okay? This is the High Priestess. My feeling is the reality is this tower energy here about the exposure of fraud, waste, abuse, corruption, theft, evil is so big that it's impossible to handle it all or digest it all at once. And what's going to happen is that the revealing for the healing will happen according to divine ordinance. In other words, when, let's say for America, if you're in America, the stuff that is being revealed by our leaders right now in our current and new administration, the stuff that needs to be revealed will be revealed according to divine ordinance, not according to any particular politician's or leader's personal agenda. And the reason being is because we can't handle it. We, the people, the common people, would be so overwhelmed with the shocking truth that it would be very dislocating for a lot of people. It would be like trying to take a 20-year opioid junkie off of their opium suddenly, all at once. If they're on a high-dose oxycodone for pleasure, fun, or they're hooked or they're addicted, or for medical reasons, some people have to take very high levels of opioids, and then you just suddenly stop. It would be catastrophic for the patient. So that's what I'm sensing here. So what's going to have to happen, because the current administration has inherited the biggest dumpster fire in world history, and it's like coming off of decades of opioid dependency on, inflationary money, fiat currencies, and so on and so on. And so in order to proceed, we're just going to have to allow for divine ordinance to play itself out. And there's no point in rushing or forcing it. It's going to be difficult for some people to understand and accept that there is divine order, that there is a divine ordinance, almost like a movie script. And there's the good people and the bad people. The story goes up and down. It's good news, it's bad news, it's good news, it's bad news, just like in a movie, okay? And there's only so much we can handle. There are leaders in Washington right now who I believe would understand this exactly, and they're trying to figure out how are we going to bring the Saturn in Pisces accountability to this massive degree of a horror story that has been outed and now needs to be held accountable. You can't just do it overnight, okay? Same thing with the economy, everything. So we have to expect and understand that the shock waves from this that are affecting the implosion of the people who've been living in unhealthy ways, it's going to have a backlash on the innocent. The innocent people like myself, are going to suffer backlash because there's going to be waves of convulsions as the unhealthy group of people are fighting for survival to get their fix, because they have been cut off, radically cut off. It isn't just turning off the faucet gently. They've been cut off. It's terrifying for them. They're absolutely going berserk. I'm using very, very broad language right now, okay? I don't want to say anything more than what I'm saying, all right? Thank you, Victor. Okay, so what's the problems here? Because it's pretty major. Let's have a look. Okay, the problem here with the Knight of Wands energy is that there's no one coming to save them. The Knight of Wands is the ultimate symbol of valor, protection, justice, heroic intervention. And the reality is, this is fine for people who are, let's say, wholesome, true, honest, loving people who simply want to be who they are and live in their sovereign right to be themselves and own their own identity rather than what is presented as reality. People like myself, we're okay. Because as bad as it is for those who are being impacted by this massive global upheaval, this massive revolution, which is really only in the very earliest stages of its journey. Remember, it's a 20-year journey that we're heading into right now. It started in the last year or so as we started to enter Pluto in Aquarius. We have a long way to go, and there's going to be a lot of convulsions on the way. 2025 itself is going to be a very convulsive year. So if you're the sort of character who is a person of integrity, truth, straightforward, common sense, and you are very appreciative of the good things that you have in life, friends, family, people, perhaps things like clean water, clean air, food, shelter, community, loving relationships, and so on, you're going to be okay. But for those who are suffering the implosion of their life, their family, their team, their country, their belief system, it's going to be horrific because there is no one coming to save them. So how do we proceed? So it's going to be a very stark polarization. That's not showing here in these cards, but I'm just telling you from the astrological perspective, we're going into an era of extreme polarization. It came out with the eclipse over the last few days, and it's going to be amplified as Pluto in Aquarius starts to have a bigger and bigger hold over the human experience in the next 5 years or so. The polarity will become very obvious. There's only two, it's a very binary system, that is a very binary landscape that is unfolding for humanity. In other words, it's either freedom or it's tyranny. If you're on the side of tyranny, there's probably going to be a lot of suffering for those people who subscribe to live in tyrannical environments. And it's very sad, it's very tragic, and there's no one coming to save them. It's almost biblical in the proportions, okay? So, let's say we are one of the innocents, and we are simply allowing the journey to unfold, and we are minding our own business, taking care of ourselves as best we can. Love thyself, number one. Don't be shy about it. We've got Venus in Aries, Mercury in Aries, both retrograde, being challenged by the moon in Libra. Don't be shy about it. You have to make the best of yourself, because that's the best that you can offer to others in one-on-one, with family, with friends, community, work, life in general. And in so doing, we can survive all this. Let's see, how do we proceed? This is for everyone. It's not just for those whose worlds are imploding. Okay, how do we proceed? We just have to understand that a new world is unfolding. It's literally a new world order. But it's not the new world order that was envisaged by the, quote, New World Order. That New World Order is essentially a fancy word for globalized tyranny. It's not that. Since this is for the people who are going to watch this video, are most likely on our frequencies here. There's not a lot of gangsters and thugs and tyrants who are going to watch this video. So I'm going to suggest that this is for us to understand, so we can observe. We can observe the drama, the implosions, and protect yourself, protect your money, protect your privacy, protect yourself. Live within your means. Honor your sovereignty. Adhere to your sovereignty. And don't apologize. And understand that we are looking at a new world that is going to unfold. The seeds have already been planted, and it's going to be good, and it's going to be wholesome for us. Okay? We're not there yet. It's going to unfold according to divine ordinance. All right? So we can't push it, we can't force it, we just have to allow things to unfold. If you are a participant in any of these dramas, I hope you see this. Like if you're a very high-level politician at the top of this American administration who is determined to do good for this country and the people of this country, then I'm praying for you. But you as well are affected by the same energy. It will happen according to divine ordinance. But it is good. It is a good thing. Because what is unfolding is a good thing as we go through the revealing for the healing. We're going to take care of ourselves. We are going to be our own knights in shining armor. And in so doing, we can essentially prepare ourselves and anticipate basically a new way of being. It's going to unfold very gently, very, let's say, slowly, but in a very sporadic, choppy, highly unpredictable way. In other words, we won't see a lot of things coming as they are exposed. In other words, when divine ordinance kicks in and something that needs to be revealed according to divine ordinance, is revealed, then it's likely to be a little bit of a shocker. It's likely to be unpredictable and probably very destabilizing. And then we have to deal with that. We're dealing with massive shifts astrologically. Pluto is in Aquarius. Neptune and Saturn are moving into Aries. Uranus is edging slowly towards Gemini. So things are going to become very effervescent as we go further and further into 2025. And we might see a lot of shock and awe. Sometimes things will be very thrilling and exciting as we see this new paradigm start to unfold. But it is a beautiful thing. I see it as a very beautiful thing. And it's just humanity evolving. We're going on to the next step. The seeds are already planted. We have to go through this convulsive healing stage, convulsive phase, but that's not necessarily for us, the individuals here watching this video. It's more to do with the people who are, let's say, out of sync, not aligned with love, honesty, patience, compassion, acceptance, responsibility, commitment, truth, facts, all of the good stuff, wholesomeness. So I'm actually quite encouraged by this little mini reading. It's a little bit scary for some. I'd like to declare